YouTube, how's it hanging? Well, cars. I got a big, huge pile. I mean, this workbench, I'm probably gonna have to reinforce it. I got a lot of cars. I got a lot of cars coming in, and these guys are taking up space. So I was looking at them, but once I get through them and see if they want to be filmed and documented or not. Some cars don't get the treatment just because I know they're probably a little silly or something like this, but I do like 124 scale still. Even though it takes up a lot more space, some cars I like to see in a larger scale. We've definitely seen that with my 1/18 scale episodes. So let's look at the 1/24th, but we're going to stay with one brand, Greenlight. They've been doing some good stuff. A lot of their older 1/24 things are a little out of whack in terms of scale. Either the body is too small, maybe the wheels are too big. They've been making a lot of cars with big wheels. And so we're going to look at these newer releases. These are 2020 releases. We're going to be looking at a 77 Fury, of course, one of my favorites. But then something else that was kind of interesting. I saw this being released online, as something that was coming soon. And another one, there's so many that you forget. And then I saw it was finally out. So we're going to look at that. We're talking about a 1969 Chevrolet Corvette, Astrovette. And we'll get into the importance of that particular Corvette in a minute. But we'll look at the Fury first. And of course, there's one back there in 1/18 scale for reference. And that's an auto art. All right. Look at the package. A-Team. I decided to get the A-Team. This is a part of the first release of the 1/24 scale B Body cars, like your Fury, Coronet, Monaco, stuff like that. So this is a 1977 Fury. Went to this. They also had a Grand Fury 2, so that was kind of cool. Let's take a look. No tape or no screws. That's what I like about these packages. The last cars we did, we kind of had them out beforehand, but I just wanted to show you how nice and easy it is to get these cars out of here. These boxes are great for putting them in and out. You can take them in and out pretty quickly. I don't even think they tape the corners on these. There's your box here. And then again, if you want to see the barcode. These have been in stores. I didn't even have to order this. They are on the online retailers, but this was in the Meijer, which is like a grocery chain here. So I got lucky. And they had this and the Terminator Monaco, black and white, fictitious LAPD car. And then the 75 Fury. So to have the different grille. And that was the Smoking and Bandit Arkansas car, I believe it was, the blue and white. But this is the military one. This is the same paint they used on the 1/18 scale, it seems like. I didn't buy that car. I'm going to have to start being a little bit more picky about what B-Body cars I get. Because I'm probably going to get a lot of the 1/24th. I really like the way this came out. Almost an identical copy of the 1/18 scale. We've seen those videos before. I got pretty much all the releases so far, except for a couple of exceptions of the 1/18 scale. Just like they continue the theme of the larger than necessary wheel size, the diameter of this rim is too big, and there's not enough back spacing, there's not enough dish to the wheel. That's my only complaint, really. I mean, the tire's kind of garbage, too. I'd say good points about the car is the body. Body's really good. It is 1/24 scale, not 1/25. So if you compare this to like a model kit that Ertl AMT did, this one's going to be larger by a little bit. I mean, the tires are nice and soft. It rolls good. Identical chassis to the 1/18 scale, the 1/43 scale, and even the 1/64 scale. They're pretty much all the same. Doors open up. We have the same level of detail in the interior as we do on the 1/18 scale. It's verbatim, really, the same thing. So, again, the body translates good, because the body on the 1/18 scale was really good, too. It just needs help in the wheel department. Now, what's good about this, unlike the 1/18 scale, is that there's a lot. This is having trouble focusing. There's a lot of options on this scale for really highly accurate wheels, and I can do any type of Aero Mopar wheel I want. If I wanted to do a high performance one, I'll take down one of my model kits that I did a while ago. And this is a 1/25th scale, but these are aftermarket wheels and tires. So I'm going to show you real quick. Well, actually, just aftermarket wheels. This is actually a Chevy Rally wheel, but it's also similar to the wheels that Mopar used during these, you know, the big vented slots. And I put Mopar hubcaps on it. So that's the kind of backspacing I'd want to see on this car. So that's just a, I think this, what is this, like a 76 Dodge, 77 Dodge truck. I did it. Just kind of painted that up a couple years ago. That's the model kit, the olden day one that they keep re-releasing. But those wheels would be easy to transfer to this metal axle car. We can look at it closely. Just on the tampoing works if you want to see it real fast. You know, I'd feel like it should be a more matte finish, more flat finish, but maybe they just painted them gloss. I've never seen too many of these in real life, so it's hard to tell. Any of you Army people from the 70s, you can let me know. I'm sure they used the Monaco or the Fury, but how was it painted? I've seen Air Force ones because there's a lot of pictures of those cars. Because you know, they'd be taking pictures of airplanes and the cars would be in the background. So there's a lot more of how those cars were painted than the military Army cars were. So there we go. It's kind of fun. The 18 van, the 1/24 scale van that they make, it looks much smaller compared to this. So I mean, this is a normal sized car from that period. They just didn't do the scale right on that. Alright, so let's take a look at another 1/24 scale car. Figured I'd do 2 for 1. Usually I'll just do one car. One of the larger cars, but I think we'll squeeze 2 in. This is really neat. This is a car. This is one of 3 cars that were ordered through General Motors. And I'll talk about this a little bit, but let's look at the packaging. I don't know how wide this release of the car is going to be. I don't know if it's just online or I don't know if the retail stores that carry Greenlight like this would even have this, so probably got to get this online. This is a 1969 Corvette. This is the C3 platform. So this is the car really that went into 1982 with changes. This is the Series 1 car, really. The 68 was the first year for this body style. Gorgeous car. Last of the really impractical Corvettes in terms of there was really no trunk back there. You'd put stuff behind the seats. The later Corvettes added the hatchback and stuff. That was one of the concessions to practicality that was ushered in as the car, you know, gained popularity. We have the Space Center picture. And then they talked about the Apollo program. Well, publicity. It's all about publicity. Well, General Motors started a leasing campaign with a dealership down in Florida where the Space Center was, where the astronauts trained. And they figured out, you know, let's give these guys cars. That way you'll see them when they, you know, do the stories on the guys and everybody has the publicity around them. You'll see them driving on a Chevrolet vehicle. So they were given a choice of vehicles. And this started, I think, in the early 60s with the lunar program and the space flight program. And so Corvette was a car that was available since 1953. A lot of them were high profile test pilots already. So through their careers, a lot of them are already well-known Corvette owners, and then they just kind of carried it through. What made it special was General Motors opened up the program to these guys, and they would lease the car for a year for $1. So they really weren't buying the car. They were kind of giving them, wink, wink, for $1. And it was good. I mean, these guys deserved it. They were carrying the flag for us and doing very dangerous work. This was not a completely proven program at this point, and it definitely was. A lot of guys got blown up sitting on, you know, basically a bomb. You know, a controlled explosion is basically how you can describe early rockets like that. I mean, it was very violent. Let's put it that way. But they would test all day and they drive these cars home at night. Well, 1969, this is a kind of a great car to pinnacleize this period. These guys were leasing these cars for $1 and give them back and get another one. So these guys are getting a new car every year. This car was ordered through the Chevrolet dealership. Jim Rathman was the guy down in, it was in Florida, Melbourne. That's where his dealership was. So he had that dealership, and that's where all the guys would go get their vehicles. The 3 for Apollo 12, and this is 1969. So this crew that had the Astrovettes was Apollo 12. And we had Alan Beam, Pete Conrad, Dick Gordon. So I had to look this up to make sure. And they all had specific jobs and duties to do during the lunar mission. One would pilot the spacecraft. One would stay up there and pilot that module, while the other 2 went down to the lunar surface. So they had, one drove the lunar module, one was the commander, mission commander, and one was the command module pilot. So they had 3 different kind of jobs, and that'll make sense in a minute. But they were all Navy guys, I guess, and so they said, let's do a car that with its own paint job. So what they did was they got a Riverside Gold car, highest horsepower, 427, 390 horse cars, a 460 foot-pound car torque. They had a big highway gear on it. I guess they had 308 rear gears and the wide ratio 4-speed. So the car would have a lot of top end. It wasn't for dragging. A lot of people would order the Corvette with short gears and, all that because they wanted to win at the drag strip. These guys probably wanted to try to get 200 mile an hour out of these cars or whatever. But, 4-speed, probably get this car up to 140 at least, I'd say. If you really stood on it. But bias tires would probably blow up. So 100 mile an hour would be pretty good. This color scheme was done by a guy that did the Tucker Torpedo. So they knew they wanted a custom car, but they didn't have the time to design it while they were, doing their training. So they hired that guy to do it, and they painted the cars with the black and gold. This is Riverside Gold car, so that was the paint code for 69, and they just added the black treatment. I compared the striping that Greenlight did to the real car. Very close. I didn't see too many mistakes. There might be an issue with how far the black goes into this door. It might go a little bit further, but that could be just some of the angle of the camera on the real car. This is supposed to come out to the point, which it does. I mean, it's a little bit over this trim, but it's good. I mean, and this is a nicely shaped car. It's hard to get that in diecast, so it's all diecast plastic chassis. Let's look at the grill real quick. I thought that was done very nicely. So you got your cross flags on the Corvette. And you got the LMP Roman numeral 12, so it was Apollo 12, Lunar Module Pilot. So this was Alan Bean's car, which was the Lunar Module Pilot. And if you look at this on the quarter panel, one of the treatments that was custom to each car is they all had their own color square. And that also referred to not only the flag of the United States, but they had their own colors for their specific panels on the spacecraft. They all had their own duties, and they all had their own section. They all had their own spacesuit, food. Everything was divided up, so it was color-coded, so their mission would stay intact, and they weren't contaminating each other, etc. So this referred to it, so Alan Bean's color was blue. Dick Gordon's was white, command module pilot, and the commander, Pete Conrad, was red. So, and it was also in the order of their jobs. Of course, one guy had to stay up there, so that kind of stunk. All 3 of them didn't go down. One stayed up. You can see the separate light there for the cornering lens. That was done good. So I'm kind of happy with it. The tires are very nice with the bias plies. They have the NASA logo on the windshield. I thought that was awesome. They did the thin pillars of the Corvette very well. You know, it's a very delicate car, really, in real life. It's a great design. You know, the first generation, I was saying, you know, they went to the glass back and they got rid of the bumpers and they went to all the plastic. But this generation car, the Series 1 C3, I love it. 68, 69, 70, 71. Just awesome cars. Big block car, 4-barrel. Had the big black hood on it, LT1 hood type hood, cowl hood, and then it had the tunnel back. So this was all fixed. Nothing opened here. You know, your storage is really just moving your seats forward. They had a big package tray back there, basically. And there's underneath. I didn't really see a serial. There might be a serial number on there. But here's your dual exhaust. It's kind of plain on there, but it's okay. I mean, it rolls nicely. And I like the size of the exhaust tips they did. A lot of manufacturers at 124 scale, even though if it's a V8 car, their gauge in the exhaust is tiny. So I like that. It's really thick, so that looks good and mean. There's your LMP 12. So we looked at some 124 scale large cars this time. I'm probably going to back that one up with another 164 scale. I got a pile over here that we need to get through, and I'm thinking we'll get to it pretty soon. But it's been busy, you know. Questions, let me know. I love all your comments. Thank you very much for being so kind. Your subscriptions and thumbs up, very nice. And I hope you enjoyed it. More to come. Look at this. This comes out of the middle. I thought that was neat. You can have your own background. This car could go back on the mood. Well, I think that would be kind of nice on the shelf. Anyway. Astrovette. Kind of cool, huh? And the Fury in the background. He's hiding back there. He's trying to get the A-team. There he is. Well, till next time.